capitals will use it. But many doesn't have no data. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's webinar, themed Accelerating Business Growth with Alternative Finance Solutions. Now, this webinar is brought to you courtesy of the Western Region of the United Capital Group. My name is Florence Echendu, Communications Officer here at United Capital, and it's an honor to serve as your compere for today. Now, coming up soon, we'll have the pleasure of listening to industry experts shed light on our theme for today, which is Accelerating Business Growth with Alternative Finance Solutions. Now, they'll be touching on various aspects of debt financing and sharing applicable steps and strategies that can be used to secure funding to grow your business and thrive in our current economic landscape. So Right now, I would like to introduce our panelists for today. First on the list, we have Esther Adela Balogun. She is the Managing Director and CEO of UC Microfinance Bank. Now, Esther is an advocate for financial inclusion through innovative digital finance solutions with a focus on micro, small, and medium enterprises. Thank you so much for joining us today, Esther.
My pleasure to be here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Florence.
Then up next, we have Tobechi Mosu. Tobechi is the head SME finance here at United Capital Group. Tobechi is an expert in international trade operations, management, and business strategy. You're welcome, Tobechi. Thank you for joining us. Are you there? Can you hear us? Hello, Tobechi, are you there? Can you hear us? Hello, Tobechi, can you hear us, please? All right, then. So we'll get right into it. We'll get right into it. Okay, so we'll kick off with Esther. Now, recently, data has shown that the number of small-scale businesses in Nigeria has been on a decline as economic challenges continue to affect growth. Could you kick us off with an overview of the current business climate for SMEs in Nigeria and share some of the practical challenges that these SMEs have been facing so far? Over to you, Esther.
Right. Thank you once again, Florence. I'll dive right in. Okay, so for MSMEs and SMEs, just like you mentioned, the economic climate or the business climate has been quite challenging in the last 3 years. And I have one very close to us that is not far away from us, and that's the high fuel prices. We know that the cost of fuel has significantly affected transportation and has affected production costs. So the cost of running business for SMEs and MSMEs would definitely go up. Now, the next one is high taxes. Today, MSMEs face high tax rates, and we know that that also strains, their financial resources. I would also go back to high electricity tariffs. I'm trying to be as granular and simple as possible. And so we know that today inconsistent and, when it's consistent, it's quite expensive. So expensive electricity supply also increases the operational cost. And then for these SMEs and MSMEs, the cost of operation, cost of production is quite high. And it will definitely affect their capital. It will definitely affect the funds they're using in doing business. And lastly, for me, is high interest rates. We all know what it is today, what interest rates are today in the market. And when MPR goes up, we definitely know that banks would also increase interest rates, and access to affordable credits is limited to these MSMEs because of high interest rates, and that they cannot secure loan. And so these challenges have also, brought about complex, issues around, issues that has not allowed MSMEs and SMEs to thrive in, the way they would have loved to thrive in their businesses. Let's also not forget that SMEs and MSMEs contribute greatly to the GDP of this country. And when you talk about employment, from data from SMIDAN, it says that they contribute 50% of the of employing 50% to employment in Nigeria today. And so some of the factors that are affecting their growth and sustainability. One of them on the top of my mind today is complex regulations. The regulatory framework for MSMEs is so complex and cumbersome, and it makes compliance very challenging for them. Then let's go back to insecurity. Insecurity and instability in some regions also disrupt business operations and also, deter investment from coming to those regions. Now, let's go back to the monkey in the room. That's the access to finance. We all know that finance is the blood of any business in Nigeria, in the world, anywhere in the world where you are. And when you have limited access to finance or credit, they cannot do business. And so most of these MSMEs and SMEs, they have challenge accessing credit from formal banks and traditional banks. And for some of them, challenge they have is they do not even trust some of these formal banks. Sometimes I've had situations where MSMEs will tell me, oh, I don't want to go to that formal bank because they are telling me to go and bring a ham and a leg just so that I can access, finance. And so they are left with no other option than to go for alternative, financing options. Then let's come back to the market conditions, the conditions in which they do their business. High competition. The Nigerian market is highly competitive, which makes it very difficult for them to scale and to reach new customers. Then not to talk of the economic uncertainty. Look at the high, exchange rates today. We know that, most of these MSMEs, some of them, import some of the goods they sell. Some of them import raw materials they use in producing, the products they produce. And, the cost of exchange rate has also affected, their business. And, the economic uncertainty has also affected their consumers. Today, look at the consumer spending. The consumer spending rate has really, really gone down today. And so it's going to affect businesses. And the impact is that MSMEs and SMEs would find it very difficult to thrive. And lastly, for me, I also want to talk about the infrastructure issues. Like I mentioned earlier, power supply and inadequate infrastructure. When these MSMEs produce the goods they want to produce, how is our roads motorable enough? Do we have good road networks for them to transport these goods? And so today, and even when, the roads, you have alternative means of transportation. What about the costs coming in from the cost of, high cost of fuel and all that? So I think today, the environment where MSMEs and SMEs operate is a bit hard and is a bit harsh. And that's why, we see that decline in business activities in that sector today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esther. That was actually really in-depth. You've been able to identify lots of the challenges that SMEs face in our current landscape. Now, I'll just take this up a notch. We mentioned as well that SMEs are vital contributors to Nigeria's economy. They contribute as much as 48% to our GDP. So over to you, Tobechi. Thank you so much for coming back, for joining us. We couldn't hear you earlier, but we're glad to have you here on board. So to you, Tobechi, right now, given the government's ambition to create a $1 trillion economy, what does this decline in SME activity mean for the nation's economic outlook?
Okay, thank you so much, Florence, and apologies for the hitch. I couldn't unmute my mic then. And good morning to participants. Okay, so let me just go straight to your question. So from the data from National Bureau of Statistics, it's on record today that we have over 39 million SMEs in Nigeria currently. And looking at this number, what does it tell us? Because across the sub-Saharan Africa, some countries are far less than this number, and we have this huge amount of them as SMEs in Nigeria today. So that tells you that the future of Nigeria indeed is in the hands of the SMEs by way of economic growth. Then also in terms of labor force, they also contribute to about 84% of the current jobs in Nigeria as of today. So just like my colleague earlier alluded to, so they contribute to over 48% of the GDP in Nigeria. Then from the African point of view, the SMEs contribute to about 50% of the GDP in Africa. So what it means is that for Nigeria to achieve the $1 trillion economy that they are proposing, then they need to look inwards and take care of the SMEs. That's the only way they can achieve that, because lots of economic activities are created around the SMEs. So currently in Nigeria, out of all the businesses, 96% of the total business in Nigeria spans from the SME segment of the market. So you really cannot do without them if we must achieve this $1 trillion economy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tobechi, for shedding more light on this. Just before we continue with the session, for those of us who have questions, please do well to drop your questions in the Q&A segment, Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. We will take the questions in a couple of minutes. Earlier on, I had requested for us to, confirm what locations we are joining from. I mean, like we always say, the world is a global village. And while this webinar is being organized by the Western region of United Capital, we would like to know where you're joining us from. You're joining us from Lagos, Ogun State, joining us from Ibadan, if you're joining us from Osun State, Osogbo, joining us from Abuja, Lagos, Onitsha, wherever it is you're joining us from. Please would like to know where you're joining us from. So please drop all of those in the comment section. Thank you very much. Now, I'm plucking a leaf from our topic for this webinar, which is accelerating business growth with alternative finance solutions. Now, you and Esther, Tobechi and Esther, you have basically explained to us the challenges that the SME community has been experiencing. But right now, we would like to know how we can surmount these challenges. So, yes, alternative financing is basically gaining momentum in the SME sector. So could you better help us understand what alternative financing actually means and how they can differ from the traditional banking financing operations that we are more familiar with? Over to you, Tobechi.
Okay, thank you so much, Florence, for your question once again. So for the SMEs, most of them have this belief that the only source of funding is the banks in terms of getting access to finance to improve their business, expand their businesses. But we're here today to let them know that there are other alternative sources. So apart from going to the bank to get the likes of overdrafts, import finance facility, and all that. So there are instruments that we use from capital markets as well to assist the SMEs in their working capital solutions. So one of them is what we call the private company notes. Then the other one is commercial papers. So a whole lot of SMEs have actually taken advantage of this. So the gospel today is to preach to them that apart from traditional banking financing, you can use any of these instruments to get funding for your business. So for us at United Capital, we've done a whole lot in this space. So for the private company notes, in the last 2 to 3 years, we have raised over 14 billion for the emerging corporates, for the SMEs, just from this SME finance part of the business at United Capital PLC. Then for commercial papers as well, we've done well over 50 billion. And these are not just large corporates, they are not multinational that you are aware, they are still the SMEs. So we are here to let you know that apart from going to the banks, there are other sources. So we're here to assist you, we're here to meet up your financial needs alternatively. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Tobechi. Thank you for outlining the various kinds of alternative finance tools that are actually available. If you need finance for your business, you don't necessarily have to go to the bank where they'll ask you to probably bring 1 or 2 things that you probably do not have access to. They're not going to ask you for an arm and a leg. There are various means you can actually finance your business without actually going to the traditional bank. I would also like to acknowledge our audience joining us from YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. If you're joining us on YouTube, please drop your location. Let's know where you're joining us from. Right here on Zoom, I can already see different kinds of locations. I'm seeing Lagos, I'm seeing Abuja, some people are joining us from Ibadan, some people all the way from Anambra State. I mean, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us once again. Now, Tobechi, while you were speaking, you made mention of private notes, you made mention of several alternative finance tools. But the most common one you also mentioned is the commercial paper. And I think that has been a trend in recent times. Lots of organizations are leveraging commercial papers to grow, to secure funding for their businesses. So this next question is basically, when you hear the word commercial paper, it sounds like one very complex term, right? Most people are wondering commercial paper, what exactly does it mean? So could you shed light on what the commercial paper is? Could you walk us through the process of accessing this commercial paper? What are the eligibility steps? What should SMEs be aware of if they are looking to subscribe to using the commercial paper tool as a means to raise finance for their business?
Okay, thanks, Florence, again. So, commercial paper is a common form of unsecured short-term debt instrument issued by a corporate entity. So, just like we said earlier, is an alternative source of funding for businesses, for SMEs. As we all know, so in my earlier comments, we confirmed that we have over 39 million SMEs in Nigeria today. That's data from NBS. So 60% out of this number, whenever they walk to any bank for any form of loan or financial assistance, the chances are likely that it will be turned down because of various reasons, which my colleague Esther had mentioned, which are the challenges they face. So the CPs, in short, which is the commercial papers, are one of the other ways that we can use to assist in raising financing for the SMEs. So from the definition, Usu was like unsecured, short term. So like traditional bank facility, definitely you will ask to get a collateral, you will ask to get a security, but in this case, CPs are unsecured instruments, so you don't need to get any form of collateral or security. So what happens here is, as far as any SME have a good financial record, you have up to 2 or 3 years audited financials. So there's what we call rating process. So this is where we come in as a financial advisor. So we will guide the SME or the emerging corporate through the rating process with the rating agency. So we have 3 of them approved by Securities and Exchange Commission of Nigeria. So we have the likes of GCR, Datapro, and Aguto. So any of these rating agencies, once they rate you and you come up with what we call an investment grade rating, at least a triple B, even if it's a triple B minus. So this substitutes your security, this substitutes your collateral. So once you have this investment grade rating, then we can register a program for CP issuances with FMDQ. So FMDQ is a regulator that regulates the market. So whether you're doing a CP or you're doing a private company note, whichever, it's the same process. So the key thing here is the ability of the SME to have good accounting records by way of having audited financials. They are making a profit in their businesses. So once we're able to do this, we take it through the rating agency and your rating is good, then the process has just begun. You can actually assist in raising. So this is actually the major requirement. Every other thing are things that you can also guide the SME with. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vicky. You have basically answered the question on basically different kinds of alternative finance tools that we can actually use to raise finances for our business. So let's talk about the smaller businesses now. Usually, whenever it comes to taking loans from traditional banks, these loans are usually very challenging to secure. I mean, they'll probably ask you for an arm and a leg, who knows? But then again, the microfinance industry has come to make financing more accessible. So I would like to channel this question to Esther. The question now is, what makes the microfinance banks more accessible for small businesses, and what kind of loan products do they typically offer? Over to you, Esther.
All right, thank you, Florence. For us in the microfinance space, just like to allude to, your statement that the traditional banks ask for a arm and a leg. We don't ask for a arm and a leg. We do simplified application processes. Our application processes are simple and less stringent application requirements. We make it as easy as possible for the MSMEs, especially for us in using microfinance bank. Our processes are very simple. And because we are also a digitally first microfinance bank or digitally focused microfinance bank, so we try as much as possible to digitize our process such that the MSMEs can also access, our application process. And secondly, Tobe was talking about collateral from the traditional banks. What we do in the microfinance space, especially for us in UC, is we extend to you flexible collateral requirements. That's what we are supposed to do as a microfinance bank. So in UC Microfinance Bank today, we have a wide range of collaterals that we take. And when I say collaterals, they are not the arm and a leg, not to go and bring you. Somebody was mentioning to me what they said, oh, so they asked me to bring my father's birth certificate. No, we won't do that. So what we do is household goods, business equipment, your stock goods, assets that you have that we can use to secure the loan in case of eventualities. Then we also, just like you mentioned, Florence, we also have small loan sizes that would be suitable for these MSMEs. When I say small loan sizes, for us today in UC Microfinance Bank, we grant as low as 5 million naira to MSMEs, and we can give as high as 50 million naira to MSMEs today, as long as the business is registered with the CSC in Nigeria today. Then our loan processes are faster. Today, if you go to the traditional bank to get a loan, I'm sure it will take you up to a month, sometimes more than a month to get a loan. So in the MFB space, under 48 hours, 24, 48 hours, as long as you have the correct documentation, you have met all the requirements, your loans are accessible. You can access your loans with us. And finally, for us in the microfinance space, our goal is to support financial inclusion. Just like I mentioned earlier, MSMEs and SMEs are, trying to drive the business environment. They are growing the GDP. And there's no way you can support MSMEs and you're not supporting financial inclusion. So let's even leave the part of credits now, say granting loans to them. We also have a range of products and services that we also extend to them. Today, MSMEs can go to Google Play Store or the iStore to say, oh, I want the App Store to say, I want to download UC MFB application. And right there, you download the app, you get onboarded, and you start doing business with UC Microfinance Bank. That's how simple it is to access, financial services with the microfinance bank. And in particular here, UC Microfinance Bank. I'm talking about the product that we offer. Okay, so for us in the microfinance space, I'm very specific with UC. We offer business loans, loans that help entrepreneurs and small businesses with working capital expenses. It helps them with, inventory. It helps them with, accessing new equipment, buying equipment for their businesses, and also helping them to expand and grow their businesses. We also grant personal loans. As long as you have a business, will pay back the loan, and we are sure that what you're using the money for would also indirectly impact your business. We grant personal loans, we grant education loans. Maybe you are in school and you want to, increase the number of computers in your school. You want to, school is resuming back in January. You are looking for, money, funds to buy school uniforms, to buy books in preparation for the new school session. We are here to serve you. And lastly, we also, give to corporate entities. Now, when I say corporate entities, there are some businesses that are not, the big businesses that can access the commercial papers that to be has spoken about. Talk to us, and we would definitely serve you as long as your business is registered. Now, let me also clarify that for MSMEs whose businesses are not registered in CSC, we are also available to serve. As a matter of fact, that is the purpose why the Central Bank of Nigeria set up microfinance banks, and that is who we are actually serving in the microfinance space. So we serve both individuals and corporate entities. Thank you very much, Florence.
Thank you so much, Esther. Just before we continue, we would like to hear from you, our esteemed audience. Please look to the bottom of your screen. You see a Q&A tab. Please click on the Q&A tab to drop your questions. We'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know the kind of questions you want to ask our panelists so we can ask them while they are on this call. Now, still with you, Esther. From a lender's perspective, what are the key requirements or factors that you usually access when it comes to considering loan applications? What kind of advice would you give to MSMEs to improve their chances of securing a loan?
All right, thank you, Florence. Okay, so the first thing a lender considers is the purpose of the loan. So why is this MSME taking this loan? What is the purpose? Is it a working capital loan? Is it an equipment purchase? Is it for expansion? As in why, I mean, the purpose of the loan, that's it. And then we also look at the cash flow of the customer. So for MSMEs today, we want to see what is the trend in your business? How have you weathered the storm in your business? Because when we check the cash flow in your business, it also helps us determine your repayment capacity. And so today, I also want to encourage, MSMEs to keep, regular, business financials, no matter how small, no matter how informal it is. And I would also encourage them to also pass, proceeds of business through their accounts. Everybody has an account in Nigeria today. So pass proceeds of your business through your account so that when the lender comes, he wants to look at your statement of account. He wants to see how well your business has been faring in the last 6 months, in the last 1 year. And we also want to be sure that you are accessible. So your business location is also very important. So today you have, yes, I know somebody's thinking, okay, so what if I'm doing business online, maybe on Instagram? That is a location, but we will be able to trace you and track you. Remember, you have to be accessible. Then another thing we also want to see is your credit records. So the past credits you have accessed, the past loans you have taken, how credit worthy were you? Now, did you default in any of those loans? Were you able to pay as and when due? So what were the terms and conditions of those loans? And lastly, for me, I think some of the things we also check is also the impact that the funding we are given is also making in your business. So if we give you funds today or you access funds with UC Microfinance Bank today, how would it impact your business? What is the growth level that it's going to give to your business? Remember, part of our goal is also to support financial inclusion. And that's why the impact that we want to make in your business is also very important to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Esther. Thank you so much. Let's keep the questions dropping. I can see lots of questions in the Q&A segment right now. We'll come to your questions shortly. Let's keep it coming. Speakers are here and available to answer every single question you have. I'll be handing this question over to Tobechi. Now, while you were speaking earlier, you mentioned the different kinds of alternative financing tools that SMEs can take advantage of to secure funding. Now, are there specific industries or types of SMEs that can actually benefit from alternative finance options? What are the characteristics of these sectors? What makes them more aligned to this financing route? We would like to learn more about how exactly these sectors can actually take advantage of these opportunities. Over to you, Tobechi.
Thank you so much, Florence, for your question. So the alternative financing solutions is actually open to all the sectors, but due to the economic condition in Nigeria at the moment, the government is looking for a way to jumpstart the economy. Earlier, you asked a question around the government plan to do a $1 trillion economy. So for the SMEs around the export activity, maybe commodity trading, manufacturers. So these are sectorial interests for the government. So definitely, so if you are in any of these, so even the fintech, the healthcare, distribution, logistics. So these are areas that can actually get interest if your business activity hovers around any of these sectors. But in all, it's actually open to all the sector. Anybody can actually access any of the solutions so long as you meet the minimum requirements for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tobechi. You've addressed basically the different kinds of industries that can actually take advantage of the alternative finance options. But then again, for members of the audience who are actually smaller business owners who need smaller kinds of loans, Esther, this question is for you. What factors do you think that these MSMEs can keep in mind when choosing the type of loan or financing structure for their businesses, and how can they balance their immediate capital needs in line with long-term sustainability, because everybody wants their business to grow, everybody wants their businesses to stand the test of time. So in order for your business to stand the test of time, of course, the business has to be sustainable. So how would you advise these SMEs to balance their immediate capital needs in terms of long-term sustainability, and what other factors can they consider when it comes to choosing the type of loan or financing structure?
All right, thank you. Just like I mentioned earlier, when I was saying, okay, this is what the lenders check when, okay, so first thing the MSMEs would want to know is, okay, the purpose of this loan, does it align with the purpose that the institution or the financial institution extending loans to me, does it align with mine? Now, I would also advise that MSMEs should also be very careful. Check the terms and the conditions. And when I say terms and conditions of the loan offer or the funding that you're accessing, it is the interest rates, the fees, compare the interest rates, compare the fees, and see that they are favorable to your business, so that you would be able to, it shows if you have capacity, you'll be able to to estimate your capacity to pay back these loans. When you do not do this financial planning properly, it puts you in a problem that eventually you might have issues with repaying back the loan. And that takes me to, creating a financial plan. Today, MSMEs today do not create financial plan. And it is very important. The financial plan is not for your lender. The financial plan is for the MSME. Develop a financial plan that would outline your short-term goals and your long-term goals for your business. When you develop this financial plan, it will help you allocate, funds effectively, and it will help you avoid over borrowing. A lot of times, MSMEs borrow funds that they don't even need for the business. And before you know it, a diversion comes in. Then MSMEs needs to prioritize essential expenses. So focus on funding of essential expenses that will drive business growth. We do not, you don't borrow for business and you divert into, maybe a coincidence happens, you just divert the money into something else. So if I borrowed for my cocoa business, then the money should be invested into my cocoa business, because the essential thing is that the lender has done a risk assessment on that business. And so the risk assessment that has been done on the cocoa business is different from the risk assessment that will be done on your fabric business if you are doing fabric business. So if you have borrowed for your cocoa business, invest in that business and let us watch the growth of that funding in your business. It will help you keep your business sustainable. And so if you have borrowed to buy an equipment, maybe you need a generator for your business, ensure that you are buying the generator. The assessment that the lender has done is for the generator, the impact. I remember the lender has also done an assessment on the impact of the generator on your business, which would also turn out to be the impact, the production rate and all that for your business. And you need to monitor cash flow. MSMEs need to monitor cash flow. I said it earlier that they don't keep financial records. And these are challenges that come around MSMEs, because when you keep financial records, it helps you monitor your cash flow regularly to help you know how to compromise, some unnecessary, expenses that would come in your business. And so it would also help you understand how you would repay back your obligation, And finally, for me, I would also advise that MSMEs and SMEs should seek financial advice. So we have spoken so much on financial advice. Financial institutions are not just meant to grant loans. Financial advisory is also something you need to get from financial institutions. A lot of times when you seek financial advisory from a lender, it helps you understand, properly the lender's perspective of your business, and it gives you a holistic idea of what you can do, with that business. Thank you very much, Florence.
Thank you so much, Esther. I like the way you wrapped it up. Wrapping it up with the fact that in order for you to secure funding, the first thing you need to do is actually speak with an advisor, because your advisor will be in a better position to advise you on the kind of loans that are suitable for your business. Is it a small scale loan? You need to scale up your business, whatever it is you need to do. So thank you so much for sharing that. We'll be moving over to the Q&A segment to hear from our audience. And this first question is coming from Nzubechi, and the question says, how long do I have to be a registered business in Nigeria to be able to access a loan from a microfinance bank? So this question is for you, Esther. How long do I have to be a registered business in Nigeria to enable me access a loan from a microfinance bank?
Well, it varies for different microfinance banks, but for us in UC Microfinance Bank, you must have done business for about 6 months, minimum of 6 months. We want to see your business records in 6 months. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. This next question is for Tobechi. It's from an anonymous attendee. And it says, please, can you clarify the requirements for a company to be able to get a commercial paper? And what role does FMDQ play here?
Okay, thank you, Anonymous, for your question. So FMDQ is the regulator for commercial papers in the market. So they monitor and ensure that every issuer repays back the short-term debt as and when due. So just like I said earlier, the major requirement here is the ability of the SME or the emerging corporate to keep good accounting records. So for a start, you should have at least 2 to 3 years audited financials. So once you have this, then and the business definitely will be a profit-making one, then the financial advisor will guide you through a rating process. So I mentioned 3 companies approved by SEC in Nigeria that is authorized to do this assessment. So basically, what they do is they look at your books, they check how well to come up with it to show that you have capacity to repay those debts. And the report comes out in rating. So you have triple B minus, triple B plus. You also have A-rated companies. So these ratings means your ability to repay back those debts. So once we're able to cross this hurdle, then we can go back to the regulator, which is FMDQ, register a program for you. So depending on the size of your business, so if the business is not so much of the size, you can even register a program size of say 500 million, 1 billion, 2 billion, depending on the size. This program is valid for 3 years. So from time to time, you can come to the market and raise monies in tranches. So the first tranche can call series 1. After 3 months or 4, 5 months, you can come again and do series 2 and all that. So this is valid for the next 3 years. So that is these are the basic requirements that at least you need to have for you to access the alternative finance solution mentioned here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tobechi. This next question is for Esther, and it's from Rose. And this question goes, what's the maximum loan limit UC can actually give to a business?
All right, thank you very much, Rose, for your question. Maximum loan for now, as at today, is 50 million. That's the maximum for today. As at today, 50 million. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This next question is also from an anonymous attendee, and it says, what is the process for LPO financing, and are there businesses excluded from accessing this fund, maybe due to economic situation or the market environment of such a business? I think this question is for Tobechi. What's the process for LPO financing, and are there other businesses that are excluded from accessing this fund? Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Anonymous, for your question. So for LPO financing, so for the lender, the major criteria here is who is the off-taker. So if the off-taker is a known brand, a known name, a blue chip, definitely the vendor, the risk assessment will not be so much focused on the vendor. So it will more to the off-taker, because that is where the payment will come from. So these are the major requirements the lender will look out for. So for LPO financing, so long as the off-taker is a known name, there's character, and I mean, is a reputable firm that have capacity to pay on the contract or the supply that is being made to them. Definitely, we're very much open to that. It's something that we can also do from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Torechi. This next question says, this question is from Taufik, and it goes, is UCMFB open to group lending, and what are the modalities for group lending?
Thank you very much, Taufik. As of today, we do not do group lending. So we do individual loans and business and corporate loans. Saturday, we don't do group lending. Thank you.
Thank you. This follow-up question is actually from Bukola, and it says, what if a loan hasn't been collected before? How do you check for credibility? While you were speaking, you mentioned that you need to actually take care of your credit score. So if a loan hasn't been collected before, how can you check for credibility?
Okay. So if the client has not been a credit client before, how do we check? Also, so there's a platform where we check for credibility, where customers' loans are reported and shared. And so that platform would also show to us. Okay, let me spill it here. Using your BVN, that platform will show to us that you have never accessed credit from any formal or financial institution before. So it also, when we check your statement of accounts, there are ways we check your statements, there are ways we check your financial statements, and we would know if you have accessed credit or not. We are financial people, and so there's a way we check it. So if you have not accessed credit before, we would also know that you have not accessed, but there are platforms that are regulated that we use in checking credibility of customers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esther. This next question is from an anonymous attendee, and it's asking, where is your office located in the Western region? Would like to pay a visit to an advisor to learn more about securing loans. Well, our office is in Ibadan. It's located at number 5 UBA Building, 11th Street in Dubai, Ibadan. You can also send us an email through ibadanoffice@unitedcapitalplcgroup.com. Thank you very much. This next question is actually going to, to Bechi. Now it says, I have an agro-tech startup company in need of financing to scale the business. What alternative finance option would be most suitable for me?
Okay, thank you so much, Florence, for the question. So for a startup, the best bet you can do is to look out for PE firms with interest in the sector where you play in the agri-tech. So we could help link you up with angel investors or VCs that can actually bring in funding for the business. Because for you to do is commercial paper or a private company notes, at least you must have done some years in business. You can hear me repeatedly saying 2 to 3 years audited financials. So for a startup, you really cannot play in the CP or PCM market. So it's more of an equity play here. And at United Capital PLC, we have a very robust and formidable equity capital market team that can actually help you look out for those private equity firms that can assist in raising that funding as a startup. Thank you.
Thank you. This next question is going over to also to the sheet. This one says, to raise a commercial paper, what is the benchmark profitability level for such a company? And what can they use to qualify to raise the CP? I'll take it again. To raise a commercial paper, what is the benchmark profitability level for such an organization? Over to you, Torechi.
So so long as the business is profitable, so there's really no benchmark, because in 2021, I mean, here in United Capital, we have raised the CPs for a company that I think the profitability was slightly less than 50 million per annum, but we were able to raise substantial capital for them. Today, that company is doing very, very well. So the good thing is, let it not be that you are making loss. So it must be a profit-making business, regardless of the numbers, so long as they're making profit. So you are qualified to do any of these alternate financing solutions. So on a larger scale, the commercial paper is on a larger scale. So for businesses like that, you can actually start small by doing private company notes. So this is a small segment of the market, is within what we call FMDQ private market. So it's very private, it's very quiet. They don't make so much noise, but I mean, you can actually raise money via the PCN. Just like I said earlier, we've raised over 14 billion for SMEs using private company notes with FMDQ private market. So we can start from there. Then if the business does well, the next 1 or 2 years, then we can do upscale and do commercial paper where we can now go all out and make create more awareness and all that. Thank you, Florence.
Yeah, Tobechi, I hope we are getting value. I'm actually getting a lot of value while being on this call. So I really hope our attendees are actually getting value and picking up nuggets that can be implemented to scale their various businesses. This question is going to Esther, it's from Yakubu, and this one says, for a corporate entity that has no credit record from any bank, what are the other prerequisites for obtaining loans from the microfinance bank?
All right, thank you very much, Yakubu. So if you do not have a loan with a with any financial institution, all we would require is your 1-year statement of accounts from any financial institution. And I would emphasize that the statement of accounts must be an account where you have your business proceeds, where we can do a business assessment, financial business assessment of your, financial business assessment for you. And so when we get the statement of accounts, we analyze your cash flow, we analyze your business proceeds, how your business proceeds comes into your account, how it leaves your account. Then we would also require that we would still go back and check. You never can tell, because even if you are a corporate entity, you have not taken a loan, as long as directors in that entity have access to loans, we would, the way it is the BVN today, you will definitely tie the loan to the directors and you check the credibility of the director. We will definitely unveil, the owners of the business. That's what I'm trying to say. So we'll check if the owners of the business have also, taken loans before, and we'll share with you other criteria. But succinctly, to answer your question, your financial statements is the best way to also check your credibility and your cash flow. Thank you.
Still on you, we have two really interesting questions for you. One is for a business that hasn't started, and the other is one who has a loan he hasn't paid. So I'll just take them together. The first one is, can a registered business who is into distribution but has not started business due to financial implications get a loan to start his distribution business? That's the first one. I'll take it again. And a registered business who is into distribution but has not actually started the business due to financial implications get a loan to start his distribution business. That's the first one. This question is coming from Delta, from the Thomas in Delta State. And the next question is, I have a loan I haven't been able to pay due to unexpected issues, which has affected business growth. But the business is really profitable with adequate funding. How can United Capital, or rather UC Microfinance Bank, be of assistance in restoring financial strength? So these two questions are for you, Esther. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Florence and Yakubu. I'll say that for your business that you have not started, you've not started a business, right? And like I alluded to earlier, you must have done that business for about 6 months. So we do not lend money. As a matter of fact, let me give you an advisory here. It is not advisable to borrow to start a business, because you also need to test the waters with alternative funding. And when I say alternative funding, not like the commercial papers that Tobechi spoke about, maybe from family and friends, funding that would not put so much pressure on you, funding that will not put so much pressure on your business. So you look for personal funds. Maybe you have other sources of income. You can start using it you can start using it for the business gradually, and you test the waters with your own funds or with funding that do not require that you pay additional interest on them. So after you have done that for about 6 months, then you can talk to a financial institution to lend to you. But I do not think there is any financial institution today that would lend to a business that has not started. And so you also, like Tobechi mentioned, you can look for investors. You partner with other people that can give you funding to start the business, but not a financial institution that would ask you to pay, interest on not funding that will come at a cost. Let me put it that way. Okay, so for the second question, I would advise that you reach out to the financial institution that has that has borrowed you money. So when you reach out to the financial institution, there's something we call loan restructuring. As long as you are sure that that business can still pay back the loan, talk to the financial institution that you want to restructure the loan. And this is why you want to restructure the loan. They would listen to you. Then you would restructure the loan, because for use in microfinance bank, the moment you sees that your credit is not doing well, I don't think there's any financial institution that would want to extend credit to you. So is either you look for funding from other sources, not borrowed money, to pay back that loan so that you can have a good credit score or a good credit standing, or you reach out to the financial institution, restructure the loan, start paying back, and then you can move on from there. That's the advice I would give in this regard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Esther. We have so many questions, but I have to take this final one for Tobechi. And it says, what is the minimum commercial paper value a company can apply for?
Okay, so thank you so much, Florence, for that question. So for minimum, like I said earlier, there's what we call program size. So you can register a program size of say 500 to 1 billion. Then you can do in tranches. So I think in terms of tranches, the minimum minimum size is about 100 million. But from history and looking at people that have raised funds from the market, so no one comes to market and just raise only 100 million. So we will not even advise it to go that way. It doesn't make any sense. So, but if you can leave it at say 500 million as a minimum, it will make some financial sense to go with. There are other forms of if the money you're looking is way below that, so I mean you could do something like do a PCN we talked earlier, private company notes. So that one is a very private instrument with FMDQ private market. So it's very quiet. It's not as loud as the CP market. So you can actually go there and maybe raise monies in hundreds of millions. But if you now the business begins to grow, then you can go to the CP market where you can do in billions and the likes. So that'll be my response to that question. Thank you, Florence.
Thank you so much, Tobechi. Thank you so much, Esther. We have gained so much value. We have lots of questions, but unfortunately, we're pressed for time. We'll not be able to take them. But not to worry, this webinar is actually just the tip of the iceberg. We have an upcoming event sometime in January. This event is going to be a hybrid event whereby you can even come in physically to speak with advisors regarding your business. So we will definitely be sharing the information on this event with you via email after the webinar and when we have other details regarding that event. Now, while we are trying to wrap up right now, we'd like to take final words from Esther and Tobechi. Are there any recommendations you have for the SME community going into the new year 2025?
Okay,
So
I'll go first.
Esther.
All right, thank you. Okay, so going into the year 2025, I'd like to encourage SMEs and MSMEs that I know the terrain is a bit tough and challenging, but no matter how tough it is, financial records for your business are very important. Whoever it is you've heard from, to which you've heard from me, wherever it is you're going to access funding from, your financial records is a key criteria to accessing funding. Please keep good and updated financial records. And lastly, for me, I would also encourage MSMEs and SMEs. it is very important. Your credit score, your credit rating is very important. Please ensure that you have good credit score and good credit rating. What do I mean? When you borrow money, please pay back so that you can have access to bigger and opportunities for funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Final words, Dimechi.
Okay, thank you, Florence. So for me, I will advise that both the MSMEs and SMEs to stick to very good bookkeeping, just like my colleague Esther said, because the challenges they face is, one is access to finance, two is capacity building, then three is what I would call policy advocacy. So for me, Esther has taken care of the need for proper bookkeeping. It goes a long way to access financing. When I spoke earlier, you heard me mention 2 to 3 years update financials. So if you don't have good accounting records, it will be difficult for any lender to assess what you are doing. Because the assessment, even from the rating agencies, from the lender's perspective, it has a whole lot to do with your financial record. So it's very important. No matter how small your business is, try and maintain a good record. Then for capacity building and policy advocacy, so I will advise that the SMEs and MSMEs, they have lots of associations, SMEDAN, NASME, NASI, and the likes. So there is need to train and train and train. So self-development is key, because you really cannot sell what you don't know. And there's a whole lot out there. So knowing fully well that if you meet these basic requirements, so if your needs are between 1 to 50 million, come to UCMFB for your financial needs. Anything above 50 million, then come to United Capital SME Finance Desk. We are here to support your business. We are here to make you grow. If we have not done it before, we will not preach it. We have done it once, twice, and we'll continue to do it again. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best.
All right, thank you so much, Dimechi. Thank you so much, Esther, Managing Director, UCMFB. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busy schedule to educate us and sensitize us on the need for securing businesses, for securing financing for our business loans. And thank you so much to Dimechi as well, Head SME Finance here at United Capital Group. You both have been amazing. I have gotten value personally, and I'm very sure that all our attendees have gotten value as well. Also, I would also like to appreciate our attendees as well. Thank you so much for staying with us to the very end. We have attendees from so many parts of the country. I can see Kaduna, I can see Delta State, Lagos, Abuja, even in Ilorin, Osogbo, Ibadan. I can see Enugu, I can see Kano, I can see Imo State. I mean, so much. Just in case you missed anything during the webinar, the recording will be shared with you shortly. And for more information about United Capital Group, kindly visit our website, which is www.unitedcapitalplcgroup.com, or you can send us an email via uccare@ucmfb.com or trade.finance@unitedcapitalplcgroup.com. Now, this webinar is brought to you courtesy of the Western region of United Capital Group. While our physical office is in Ibadan, we cater to neighboring states as well, like Kwara, Osun State, Ogun State, neighboring towns, even all around the Western region. So not to worry, our physical office, like I mentioned earlier, is at number 5, UBA Building, Lebanon Street in Dubai, Ibadan. But then again, if you're within neighboring communities, you can always reach out to us, both physically and online. Now, we would also like to appreciate several partner organizations during the course of the planning of this webinar. We'd like to appreciate the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Investment, and Cooperatives. We'd like to appreciate Oyo State Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture. We would also like to appreciate the Small and Medium Scale Development Association of Nigeria, SMEDA. We would like to appreciate the National Association of Small and Medium Enterprises, NASI. We'd also like to appreciate the National Association of Small Scale Industrialists, NASI, and as well the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. It's really beautiful to see all these trade organizations in support of growing the SME industries here in Nigeria. Just before we wrap up again, our address again in Ibadan is located at number 5 UBA Building, Lebanon Street, in Ibadan. Now, and the email address is ibadanoffice@unitedcapitalplcgroup.com. So just in case you want to come in for a physical consultation, feel free to walk in through the doors. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this webinar is just the tip of the iceberg to prepare us for the SME Finance event to take place next year in 2025. So keep in touch, ensure you stay in touch with us for more updates. That will be the first person to know when the event is going live. Once again, on behalf of United Capital Group, thank you so much for attending. We appreciate your time and we hope you stay in touch. See you at our next webinar. Goodbye.